Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So, you can tell by the title, we'll be talking about the winter storm again. It's going on, it's already beginning across Montana and northern portions of Wyoming, but it really is going to start ramping up in the next few hours. And it's definitely important as this storm could be very dangerous, unlike other winter storms that would typically occur in winter, and I'll explain why in just a bit. But I want to also mention I will not be focusing on just the snowy side of the storm, but also the rainy side, as that will be impacting lots of people as well. So we definitely have to keep that in mind. And also the severe weather threat may be a bit of a concern. So I will try going over that as much as possible. Now, if you guys are new to this channel, hello, welcome. I do weather videos. I am not a meteorologist. I am a hobbyist, a weather enthusiast, and for official info, for official forecasts, go to the National Weather Service, as they have your warnings, watches, advisories, and tell you what to do. I'm here just to give my own little, if you will, forecast. It shouldn't be taken seriously to the point of replacing National Weather Service whatsoever. It's just merely for the fun of it. And if you are liking what you're seeing, or a returning viewer, consider liking the video. Let's get into this. So, I coined this a winter storm several days ago, and in my last videos, and there was a bit of confusion as to why am I calling this a winter storm when it's occurring in the summer. And I do understand, it makes complete sense that, it's not winter, so why call it a winter storm? Well, it's really not. It doesn't matter what time of the year it occurs in, it's really what precipitation is falling. And, snow, sleet, those type of precipitations are associated with a winter storm, and it could be spring, summer, fall. As long as there's a heavy snow threat, it's a winter storm. That's kind of, in meteorological terms, a winter storm isn't really applicable to seasons, if you will. Maybe a better word would be snowstorm. But winter storm works as well. So right now, let's take a look at the GFS. Notice that we are having a large system pull away into southern Canada. This is affecting a good portion of Canada right now. Lots of showers, storms, just an overall kind of a dreary day across southeastern Canada into the northeast. Also, we are seeing a line of severe thunderstorms developing across Ohio and into Indiana. There are some tornado warnings and watches with this, and there will be these periodic, kind of flare-ups of storms throughout the next week where we will have to watch the severe threat, as it may not be 100% determined where it will occur. So definitely have to keep an update on that. So notice, right now we are seeing rain across Montana, spreading into the Dakotas and even Minnesota, but really the snow is limited to just the mountains and upper elevations, and that's more typical for this time of the year. Still indicative of some chilly air up here. You can see if you were to look at the anomalies, it's still chilly, but it's definitely not as cold as it will get. And the proof of that is not even in temperatures, but I mean, look how widespread the snow gets. We move this into late today into early Tuesday morning. We look at widespread snow across a good portion of Wyoming. Really just a few pockets of rain, mainly just snow, and this quickly does move through. By mid-morning tomorrow, really in the afternoon, it will be out of Wyoming and into Colorado. So the good thing is that this will be moving quickly, so the impacts will, if you will, stay limited because of the timing. But again, that is a bit flawed to think, because that's a flawed way to think, because this will fall at very, very heavy rates. So during those times of impact, it will be almost, undrivable at times. And yes, while this is early, so most of the snow will accumulate on grassy areas, and it will be very hard for it to kind of accumulate on pavements, as it's been in the 90s and 80s across these regions today and yesterday. The thing is that this will be falling very heavily, and it probably will briefly accumulate before melting, and when it does accumulate, it will create a slush, and that still poses a risk. Also, even if it's just falling, that reduces visibility a lot. And notice that the snow will be falling heavy as it pushes into Colorado into Tuesday afternoon, so tomorrow, and into late tomorrow into early Wednesday. We see across Colorado, extreme portions of northern New Mexico. Really, some models are showing some snow across Nebraska and Kansas. We'll have to see how that goes. That may be a bit overdone, and again, if it does fall at heavy enough rates, it will only accumulate on elevated surfaces. Roads shouldn't be a problem. I'm not saying they shouldn't be a problem at all. They just won't be as big of a problem as you typically would if this were a setup in winter. And it's still the summer. So this is probably going to be more limited, but definitely higher elevations. or not higher elevated surfaces like bridges, maybe roofs will probably get accumulations, and probably trees, and that poses the other risk. This storm is dangerous. I call this a dangerous storm because this storm is not going to be your typical winter storm in the fact that it's occurring in the summertime, and a lot of trees, despite what people may not, it's the west, higher elevations, they may be seeing already fall, they are still mainly covered with leaves, the trees. And the trees, when they are covered with leaves and they see heavy snow, wet heavy snow, that sticks to everything, and it gets more surface area on the tree for the snow to weigh it down, and that could cause a lot of trees to fall, break, fall on houses, fall on cars, and power lines. That's probably the biggest threat. Power outages will be very high. The wind will be a factor, but really it's just we wouldn't even need to have any sort of wind to create impacts. I mean, you have a large surface area of a tree, but some of these areas could be seeing a foot of snow where there's still leaves on trees. That is, a recipe for a disaster. And notice that as we push this into early Wednesday and mid Wednesday morning hours, this starts dwindling across Colorado, but we still see lots of rain occurring, and we can start see that snow transition into rain. And it's good that we're seeing this precipitation overall across this area, as it's very dry. Just unfortunately, it's coming in a form of snow, which is just not beneficial, and it would really be better if it came in a form of rain. But I guess they'll take anything they can get. Though at this point, it's kind of tough to see, the benefits and the risks of this, as the risks are pretty high. We notice that once the storm kind of sits around in the southwest, it really weakens. A lot of the precipitation halts in the Midwest. I will talk about the rain in just a minute across the Midwest. But notice that a lot of this precip kind of scatters, and we really see the storm disorganized. It does send out a wave, you can see right there, and it combines with the cold front to the north, which we'll have to see for additional development, maybe across the northeast of some rain. You can see right there, not snow, don't worry about that, but maybe some rain and showers and storms. The northeast is dry right here. These upper states of the New England and southeastern Canada are very dry, and they are in a drought, so rain would definitely be beneficial. And let's just take a quickly look at the total snowfall accumulations. These may be a bit overdone. I just want to focus in on, let's go to the southwest. This should really capture all of it. These snowfall accumulations will probably be a bit overdone because the models are not incorporating the fact that the surface temperatures are very warm, or they were warm, and the concrete, the pavement, the earth is very warm, so we'll have a hard time to accumulate. But I mean, when they're forecasting in some spots up to 30 inches of snow, you could safely say that a foot or two is possible across the higher elevations. And really, this is kind of a hit or miss storm. I mean, some areas see very little. They could have a warm pocket of air. Some see much more. So just go to the National Weather Service. They have the amounts kind of fine-tuned for you. And you could also just look at this map and see where this model is showing you the heaviest amounts. Also, some amounts getting into Utah and portions of northern New Mexico, as mentioned, and Nebraska and Kansas. Let's take a look at the HER model. This is a high resolution model. It goes out not too far, but it is a very, very precise model. Let's go to the 18Z model run, as this is the one that goes out quite far. Every 6 hours we have a model run from this HER model that goes out pretty far. And let's take a glance at this. So notice that for right now we have storms across Ohio, Indiana. So I do want to mention that quickly, that if you live across these areas, there is a threat today for some storms and severe weather. This is definitely powerful. These storms are very efficient rainmakers, even if they don't produce, strong winds or hail. So just keep a watch for that. They do seem to dwindle in overnight, but some of them, you still keep their little power, if you will. And then notice across Montana, the precipitation starts shifting to the south, and this is already late, really late today, into early Tuesday. We start seeing the snow move into Wyoming. We see a lot of precipitation start erupting across Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, these little thunderstorms, and they will continue to push to the north and east and kind of combine with this front. noticed, this is really right before Tuesday, so around today at 11 o'clock at night, we start seeing lots of snow develop across Wyoming, and it's going to be heavy. It's going to fall very heavily. Notice we see lots of storms and showers developing across at this point, Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, so definitely stay tuned because these may kind of train over the same areas, which could lead to some flooding. As we push into the wee morning hours of Tuesday, we notice this pushes into portions of South Dakota, Nebraska, and we see this system push further into Wyoming as well. Now, the capital, Cheyenne, seeing snow, and I do apologize. I think a couple days ago or even yesterday I mentioned that the capital of Wyoming was Casper. That was my bad. It was a bit of a mix-up. It's actually Cheyenne. And that at that point, the snow will be moving into Cheyenne and northern Colorado early morning hours of Tuesday. Notice the rain continuously ongoing across Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa, and becoming a little bit more weak, kind of blurred out, if you will. More widespread, but much later rainfall. Then we see the snow continuing across western Nebraska into northern Colorado. You can see at this point the system kind of it's very scattered and disorganized, but that doesn't mean that the precipitation rates really go down across the mountains. You can see it's still going pretty strong across Colorado, and we start seeing a bit of a reorganization, especially across the north. You can see Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, some showers and storms definitely on their way, and they could be occurring over a very long period of time. You can see it's a wide belt of precipitation, and it's not moving a lot. And we see more precipitation occurring across, at this point, western Kansas, Nebraska, and into New Mexico. So this is still not done with all of the snow, but I want to look at the total snowfall, what the HRRR thinks. And the HRRR model really kind of concentrates the heaviest snow amounts across Wyoming rather than Colorado. Definitely the higher elevations in Colorado will see a lot of snow, but it's the lower elevations that really see less with the HRRR model. But, less, it's still going to be a lot of snow in some areas, up to 3 to 4 inches in areas that aren't even mountains. Western Kansas, western Nebraska. As I said, Colorado, Wyoming isn't, they're not just one big mountain. It's full of valleys and hills and troughs and ridges, if you will. So higher elevations, more snow, lower elevations, less snow. That's classic, right? But the differences between this and a regular early fall storm, their lower elevations will be seeing snow that are much lower in elevation, pretty much sea level. Not like 1,000 or 2,000 feet, but like sea level, or maybe like a couple hundred feet up. So that is that for the HRRR model. Let's take a look at the European model quickly before we go. So here's the European model. I will not be going over the timing with this model, as really most of the other models, I already showed you them, and their timing, they're all pretty much on the same page. There isn't really any major differences in timing, so that's one thing that is good. The timing is relatively confident, and even if it does switch up a bit, it doesn't seem to make that big of an impact. The snow will fall heavy, despite whenever it will. Maybe a few hours ahead or a few hours behind. But we'll have to see. You can see across Montana still a bit of snow expected to fall. This was a model run at 12 o'clock at noon, so now it's 5 o'clock as I'm recording this, so a lot of the snow already fell. It's slowly starting to move out of Montana. Still snowing across some higher elevations, but it's really going to start cranking up across Wyoming. You can see 9, 10, 11 inches even across the lower elevations. Higher areas, up to 20, foot and a half. And across Colorado, the European also includes a lot of snow, similar to the GFS, really peaking in some areas, almost close to 30 inches of snow. But again, Denver, for example, here, according to European, is seeing anywhere between 8 to 12 inches, which is a lot. We have snow across Nebraska in the 5 to 6 inch range. And Kansas is not that much according to the European, but again, that's a slight difference that we'll just have to monitor. Let's take a look at the total accumulated precipitation. I think the European does the best job with the rain across the Midwest, and notice there's gonna be a lot. This is going to fall in the form of snow, so you can see quite a bit of rain or precipitation that's going to melt in, or snow that's going to melt into the rain. So good drought relief. But then you can see Texas seeing isolated amounts up to 6, 7 inches. Same with Iowa, northern Illinois. Quite a bit of rain, not snow, rain, 1 to 3 inches, I would say. Wisconsin as well. Really just the Midwest looks pretty wet and dreary. Portions of the Mid-South maybe not seeing as much, but again, you can see that on both sides are surrounded by heavy rain, in this case Arkansas. This could still flip around, and all it takes is a couple of showers to move through that drop an inch of rain to leave you with a lot of precipitation. Notice Southeast will also be getting active. This is not really to do with directly with the system, but more of the tropics. You could see quite a bit of rain for sure across Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and into Virginia. And if we put this out to 240 hours, you can see a bit more precipitation falls, but the European keeps it pretty dry for the Northeast. Unfortunately, that would be not the best case scenario, as they do need a lot of rain as well. So the GFS is more friendly towards rain across the Northeast. The European really isn't. But I wanted to show you the National Weather Service map. You can see just all sorts of colors, just very colorful. Red flag warnings because of the heat, and then hours later we have winter storm watches because of the cold or in snow, and then notice we have freeze warnings and frost advisories across Minnesota and North Dakota very early this year for sure, but some years just come early, and this is not an indicator of what's to come despite what people may think. Really, this is just an event that sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't, and most of the time it doesn't, but on those years that it does, it is a shock. So you can see this is Denver's forecast. There's a lot of fires going on across the west because of the heat, and it's a juxtaposition where they could be seeing 1 to 3, 2 to 4, almost 6 to 7 inches of snow. And by the way, they're going to go back right into the 80s as soon as this event pulls away. So very, very dramatic, and you can see snow and record cold. So go to your National Forecast Office, National Weather Service, as they will go over the amounts way more in detail. And you can see Denver 5, Boulder 8. So thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. See ya. Bye.